and happy Sunday afternoon, everyone. We're back. This is episode 3 of our Star Trek Picard watch-along slash commentary series. I'm so happy to be joined once again by Fatheree. Hello, Fatheree. Happy Sunday.
Hi, I'm happy to be here as always and be watching one of my favorite Star Trek shows with one of my favorite Star Trek fans.
Yay. And we're super extra hyped because the trailer dropped. By the way, everyone go check out Fatheree's hosted discussion on Tex-Trek. We did a discussion for the second trailer of Star Trek Picard Season 2 that just dropped on Friday. And so we did that discussion yesterday. You can go check it out on Tex-Trek. But don't check it out yet because we're live. Because I realize if you go, you leave and you come back. Unless you want to pause us, that's fine. We have Jill in the audience. Yay! Now we can. I was waiting for you, Jill. So now we can get started. So for those of you, if you're any of you all are new in the audience, what we do is we queue up our copies of Star Trek Picard. Father and I are watching it on Paramount Plus, and I'm sure you can watch it on your Blu-ray if you want to, and then you can put us on your phone loud and clear so you can hear us talking while it's playing. And then we also and then I'll count from 5 and hit play. Also, I'm going to post the link to the hold on a second here, copy. All right, I'm going to post the link to the Star Trek Picard Season 2 second trailer discussion that happened yesterday. It's going out right now. All right,
yeah, so if you missed that, then go check it out because the two of us and also our colleague Brian had a lot of fun combing over the new Star Trek Picard Season 2 trailer.
Yeah, it was great fun. And the audience live chat was fun too. Also, since we'll do this again at the end of the stream, but since we're promoting, Friday's Tex-Trek was awesome too. We had Aaron Walkie in the chat, and he was interacting and giving us some really cool insights into the behind the scenes, into the writing, into the intentions.
That was incredible. Yeah, we had one of the writer-producers of the show in our audience answering questions, giving us insight, and we're going to try to have him on as a actual guest at some point. So
check that out. All right, so let's count down from 5, and we'll say engage. When we say engage, that means we're hitting play. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, engage. All right. Previously on Star Trek Picard, we have little chance to talk before the actual episode
and talk over
airs.
the recap.
Yeah, over the recap. Would you think when you first saw this episode, how are you feeling about it?
At that point, we knew that it was like a 3-part opening thing. So I guess I was ready to see the conclusion of that little mini arc, and then see Jean-Luc back up into the stars, back up into space, which is what this episode is largely about. You know, he got shot down by Clancy last week, so now he's having to unofficially start this mission.
And it was nice to I remember like, even though it's like clear fan service, like not to skip to the end, we'll talk about it, I'm sure, when we get there, but like the moment when Jean-Luc just says engage, it's like
oh yeah, it's very satisfying. Yeah, I mean, you have 3 episodes building up to that moment, so
yeah.
If you watch all 3 of these and you take out, if you have like the Blu-ray set, you just like hit the skip chapter button on the recaps and the end credits and the opening titles. The whole thing actually is about 2 hours long, so you can watch it like a movie.
Yeah, that does work really well.
Oh, this flashback was really cool. This is where we see exactly what happened with the
aftermath of the
rogue
Mars
synth. Yeah,
I guess we can call them the Mars attacks.
the synth attack on Mars might be less confusing.
That's a cool
this
little
flashback here with Raffi.
I like that design. That's something new. I don't think we've seen that before, right, Fatheree?
Yeah, it's not a Discovery shuttle, so that's a plus. And here are these uniforms. Wouldn't it be kind of cool if they had the same uniform for this time period and Lower Decks? I always think like, oh, they could have like had some franchise
crossover there,
synchronicity there.
Synchronicity, yeah. This is cool though. They did a really great job de-aging Sir Patrick Stewart. Like, if it is even, I think they are
Yeah,
doing it. There's some smoothing and stuff going on.
yeah, but it looks great.
Yeah. So here we get this like moment that was pretty. To me, this was really heavy. Like the idea that like this is something we never see with. I don't think with like other captains like that moment when they're like done with Starfleet. I guess we get a hint of it with Kirk in the Nexus, like where he's talking about leaving Starfleet and stuff like that, and he had to come back to the captain's chair. But it's like this is Jean-Luc's low point. Like this is sad, and also for Rafi too. She's so disappointed here. I like how Jean-Luc is dismissive, but it's actually what's going on. We find out 14 years later.
Yeah, so this is 2385 for those keeping score at home with the actual year. So this is 2 years after Star Trek Prodigy season 1.
and and uh, that means that like Picard season 2 will probably be in 2400
Yeah, it'll probably be our first 25th century show.
show. It's cool.
Do you think in the year 2400 there's people that are like, well, actually the start of the new century isn't till next year because the Romans never had a year zero.
Yes, 100%.
There were a lot of those in the year 2000, and I'm sure there were a lot of those in the year 1900 and the year 100 even. It's funny if you look through history how similar certain things are.
Jill's saying, I have a thing. People complained on Twitter that it was just too convenient that Laris and Jaban were Tal Shiar. The show never mentioned that they were there because. Oh, sorry, I'm a little confused. Wait. The show never mentioned that they were there because they were Tal Shiar. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay, so yeah, the show does not mention that they were there because they were Tal Shiar. It's true.
Yeah, I think the show just wants us to believe that they're ex Tal Shiar that feel indebted to Picard.
Oh, and this is true. Picard just drops Raffi entirely after he ruined her career. I'm so disappointed in him. Do you?
Well, sometimes when you have a falling out with someone, you just might take a long time to reconnect, if you ever reconnect.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Also, it's interesting that like Picard went from like he never had like this kind of just one close confidant. I guess like maybe.
He
Data?
totally did with
You
Beverly.
think so with Beverly?
Yeah, yeah. They had breakfast every morning. She
No, but I
called
guess
him
what
John
I
Luke.
mean to say is like, okay, I guess what I'm trying to say is that like here as Admiral Picard, there's not a crew. He's like,
Oh
saying
yeah,
goodbye
yeah.
to.
She
Yeah,
she
yeah,
is
it's
his
like
crew.
she's his crew. She's his
yeah.
like attaché or his right hand, basically. So yeah,
Yeah,
I get it. Like
everyone else is like doing shit. Like Geordi's designing ships. Data's dead. Riker and Troy are off on the
no, but I just
Titan.
mean also like he doesn't have like a whole crew that he manages of like Rafis. You know, what I mean, like it's interesting that she's like the only person that kind of
Oh,
you know
I assume he has like a cabinet. He has like a staff
Cabinet.
or something. She's
That
just
makes
like
sense.
his. She is the number one.
She is the number one. She's the second number one. Well, third possibly actually.
Well, yeah, how does the dog factor in? Yeah, no. Picard told the girl in the turbo lift. He says he always calls his first officer number one. Then you watch Star Trek Discovery and it's kind of like, oh, every captain does that. Giorgio,
Yeah, it's like a
Lorca,
thing.
Pike.
Did they really have a falling out? It was kind of one-sided. Well, Rafi like walks out on him here in disappointment, so I imagine like
Yeah.
after
I think it's kind of just snowball after that,
so
and they
after
just
that, yeah.
don't
But she does
talk.
call him out too. In this episode later on, she'll say
Oh yeah,
something about
yeah. She's
that.
like, like a phone call would have been nice, yo.
Yeah. It was a slow falling. It wasn't like an immediate falling out. It was like one of those like things that like after so long, Jill, he's like, I'm sure Jean-Luc was like, should I call Rafi? And then the more he didn't do it, like the harder it became to do it. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
that actually
Like,
sounds pretty realistic.
I would love it if like they still had like hand phones in the future just as a novelty. You know,
He
like
does use the
handsets.
term "hang up." He in the
Yeah.
last that was the last episode, right? When he called her, he's
Right.
like, "Rafi, don't hang up." It's like I
He
don't even
does.
think kids say that now. They probably say like "end call," "don't end
Yeah.
call."
Don't end call. I don't know what kids say. It's a good
You know,
question.
they don't
So
say rewind; they say go back. Like they
it
don't know
is
what
cool.
rewind means.
It is so cool that Hanley Culpepper got to direct the first three episodes, like what you said, how it like lands like a movie. It's all one complete story, kind of. So here's the introduction of Snake Leaf, which is, I think, a equivalent for marijuana, right? Like, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, I assume that the reason why Raffi and Rios know each other so well is Rios is probably smuggling the stuff to Earth for her. Although I
That
guess
actually
she grows her own supply these days. It looks like.
that puts a whole weird spin on the. This is like Breaking Bad Star Trek. That's funny. But yeah, I don't doubt that that's correct actually, because he is a smuggler. I like that she uses pro tip, even though that's like such a today thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of modern day language in modern Star Trek.
Jill wants to know how come the person who wrote the melody they used from the Inner Light doesn't get any credit at all. I think it's because it's actually not based on the Inner Light theme, but something that Daniel Stewart was playing and improvising on his own. I think. Uh, I have to go back and like watch the episode again, but the da 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 da, that is something Daniel Stewart's character, the son, Picard's son, is playing. So I think Daniel Stewart should get credit for it if he made it up. In fact, it might be something.
I doubt he made it up. I
Yeah,
think
it's
you're
true.
just allowed to sample music. That's
Yeah. My favorites are the first three episodes. No legacy characters die till episode five, so it still has possibilities.
Well, speaking of legacy characters, we do get our first one coming up in a moment with Hugh.
Yes, the director of the artifact.
Yeah, right here. She's like, "Why didn't you reach out?"
Yeah.
No, we there's more going on with her. We later find out that her son has stopped talking to her, which is like I guess one of the unfortunately common things that happens when people are dealing with addiction and whatnot. Like
Mm-hmm.
it alienates the rest of their loved ones.
Rafi's like Rafi's a very tragic character in this season, and I love how they handled her kind of. I don't know if you can call it a redemption yet, but at least her coming back into action. Both Jean-Luc and Rafi
I
are
would I would say
in
her
this
recovery.
her recovery, yeah. And both Jean-Luc and interestingly enough, like they're like binary stars in a way. Like both of them after that situation that we saw in the beginning, both of them just kind of gave up and didn't do anything else. Like, I mean, Jean-Luc wrote books or whatever, but he like retired. Like he went into Chateau Picard, and she's just been kind of like it looks like living a nomadic kind of life, just like a lonely life out in the
Off the grid,
desert,
yeah.
yeah, off the grid, so to speak. So they're they both need each other, and it's like beautifully kind of illustrated. It's neat that he went to her.
The return of Hugh. It's like I don't say this as critical, but it's like it's kind of unceremonious.
Yeah.
That's kind of uh, refreshing in a way, but like there's not like a big like da 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 da. It's it's Hugh moment. He's just kind of like, oh, Hugh, that guy who showed up in 2 episodes of The Next Generation. Yeah, that
Yeah.
Borg. I remember him. He's actually on this cube also, and I guess running the thing here. So
This
cool.
was this was so exciting for me personally because as a teenager when I was watching TNG, I like loved I like thought Hugh was like the best thing ever. I thought he was like he it was a paradigm shift on the Borg. Like I thought they just took like I love it. Like a lot of people like we when we were doing discussions of TNG on my channel, some of the my guests like my especially one of my friends was like he wants the Borg to always just be bad guys, like to never have had nuance. So he hated Hugh because he was like, oh, Hugh represented like now we're humanizing.
That's
the
not a
Borg or
Star
whatever.
Trek thing, though. Like,
Exactly.
like
No, I agree.
that goes back to the first season of the original series. You know, like when Kirk is fighting the Gorn, and it's like, oh, this monstrous reptile creature you think would be like this evil, sinister
Exactly.
thing, but no, it's like a caring, thinking, living entity.
Yeah, I knew it was destined for that, and personally, I just that's what I love. I don't care for
No, I Borg
Yeah.
is a great episode. Yeah.
yeah. I don't care for a villain staying a villain forever. Like it's not interesting to me because it doesn't reflect like what I've seen in real life and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, Star Trek is about nuance.
Yeah. But anyways, getting Hugh back was like a huge thrill for me because I was the biggest fan of that character when I was a kid, and I wanted to cosplay. Like I get you didn't call it cosplaying back there, but I always wanted to cosplay as Hugh. I always loved his kit, like his. It was a different looking armor, you know. He had like that cool.
The character never
hologram
stood
eye.
out to me like that much, but that story, that episode really stood out. But I guess Hugh's claim to fame is he did get to become a recurring character. They did bring
Yeah.
him back.
Yeah, he did come back, and then this is like a completion to his story. Basically, it's sad that you know what happens to him is he dies, but that was nice. Jean-Luc apologized to her
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, it looks like your crazy conspiracy might have been right after all."
after all. Yeah, I don't want to talk too crazy about it, but like I don't know how to explain it, but like none of the critiques about like poverty and inequity didn't make sense to me regarding you know Rafi living on a trailer
Yeah.
and all that stuff. I always felt like that's her choice. Like she has the opportunity to live in a chateau if she wants to because there might be a free chateau somewhere, you know, like that you could register to live in. I don't know how it works in the future, but I just imagine that like there's a lot like even though it looks on the surface like she's down in the dumps living in like a trailer park type of environment, which you know again like that doesn't necessarily mean it's like a bad thing.
No, it like she wanted to be off the grid.
Yeah.
Her son left her. Her career's ruined. She's like wants to be out of sight.
Do you think though that like Jean-Luc having a chateau that he lives in is something that doesn't jive with like how we think of Earth and the Federation and like you know life in this time period?
Like, why does he have like that big of a house?
Yeah. Like, how do you feel about it? Like, in the context of like where there's no money in the future. Like, how does
Yeah,
he?
I mean, I
have
assume that
yeah,
there's also no. I mean, Star Trek's never really addressed it. I would assume like there's no private property on Earth.
Right.
You can have personal property, like you can have housing. You can have like a your own home. You can't own like 10 homes and like rent some of them out or stuff or like.
Gotcha.
I think, but like, oh yeah, like we like having homemade wine, so someone needs to be, in charge of the chateau. So,
And
this someone in
it's
the
actually a
Picard
public-
family is always willing to do it.
And it's
No,
yeah,
I don't
like
know
a
the
public
distribution of the wine. How do they distribute that wine? It's just like whoever Picard. Oh, we have like 4,700 bottles this year, so I get to pick 4,700 people that get a bottle of wine. I'm not sure how that part of it works.
trust. True.
There we have
Also-
Commodore O and the sunglasses, which
Yeah.
Michael Chabon said was a hint that she might be something a little more than Vulcan, since Vulcans wouldn't need sunglasses. But it
Right.
also helped keep her mysterious looking and possibly hide her identity when she has to go operate out in the public.
I also just like that they're classic Hollywood Ray-Bans. Like, they
Yeah, it
look
looks
so good
like
on her.
it looks like one of the Felix leaders in the Bond movies. I forgot which. I think the one that was in Thunderball, maybe. I don't know. They kept changing actors so much, but was it
I like this padded Romulan
Jack
room.
Lord? Is that the guy? The guy who was in Hawaii Five-O.
Oh yeah, is it Jack Lord? Yeah, I think that's Jack Lord.
Who was almost Captain Kirk,
Captain
by the
Kirk.
way.
Yeah, that's right. That's
He
right.
wanted too much money, so they're like, hire Shatner.
Oh, that's cool. Um, a couple comments from Jill. I love the depiction of the cube here, just stunning. That was from earlier. Words cannot express how much I loved you and I Borg. 10 out of 10, top tier Trek, a masterpiece in my opinion. Nice, Jill. I only gave 4 TNG episodes a 10 out of 10, and Iborg was one of them. People still want. Jill's saying the same thing as you, Father. So people still want fine wine. I feel that Family Chateau would continue. Also, each of those
Yeah.
vintages are probably scanned by a replicator.
Well,
And for
Replicator ain't as good as homemade.
no, I
So
know, but I'm just saying like that's another way you can distribute it to everyone. So like if you can't really like get a hold of like through the lottery system, if you can't get a hold of a crate of Chateau Picard whatever year, you can get the next best thing, which is a replicated version of it. You know.
maybe you have to like get on like the waiting list for your Picard wine. And you get like the notification. It's like, oh, today is the day that you're allowed to come pick up your bottle of wine. It's like, oh man, today is the day I have like that reservation at Cisco's Creole restaurant in New Orleans. I can't do both.
I love this hero music and this shot of the La Serena. This is
La
our first
Serena's
shot.
grown on me. The design of it.
Yeah, she's
Um,
great. I love her. I loved her from the start, but yeah, I'm glad she grew on you. I say this with love. She's like a Honda Civic. I drive a Honda Civic, and I just love it's like a
oh,
compact, futury
I
looking
never knew what you
car.
drove. Is it gray? Is it silver?
It's silver, yeah.
Yeah, that seems like all the Civics are silver. Yeah. I drive a blue Ford F-150 truck.
Ooh, nice. Well, this is what La Serena is more like, is a truck. She's like a
Yeah, you
workhorse. Yeah,
haul
so
cargo
that's
in
cool.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the interior. I've always liked the interior, and it does look
Yeah.
like the shape of the exterior of the ship. It's like
Yeah.
scaled to match. So well done.
Yeah, it's really good. How did I always wondered what happened to get that titanium stuck in his like.
Yeah, that's such a cool introduction, isn't it? It's like, oh, you know exactly the hard drinking, hard smoking, just titanium blows up on him on some of these jobs he's running. And we get the introduction of his holograms too, where all the holograms with a different accent. We have the English accent for the emergency medical hologram. We're also going to meet an Irish navigational hologram.
Yeah, that one's Emmett, I think, if I'm not mistaken. No, this is Emmett.
Yeah.
I forget how they go, but yeah, yeah.
Picard
emergency
looking at
medical
the
Emmett.
captain's chair. This
Enoch
book,
is
the
one of them, too.
the tragic sense of life. I remember researching this 2 years ago, but I love his mermaid tattoo as well.
Yeah, which is what La Serena is, a siren slash mermaid.
Yeah, that's
I love
how you say mermaid in Spanish is La Serena.
La Serena. Yeah, this is such. I love that he says, "I do what needs to be done. I'm not in the habit of consulting lawyers." He's such a badass. Like this is an interesting thing because they're both. Rios must be going nuts that he has Jean-Luc Picard. Like no matter what happened, like he's a famous admiral. You know what I mean? Like, and if you ever served in Starfleet, which obviously Rio keeps the Starfleet, like the Starfleet protocols in place, even though he's not a member of Starfleet. He's not in Starfleet anymore. And so it's like a cool thing to be called in a way. Like Jean-Luc calling him out on that is like a huge compliment. I also love that he's a former XO. This whole team is made up of number ones.
Well, you see Rios revert to his Starfleet officer self occasionally when he's eventually he gets to where he's like, he tries to be like real flippant here, like he doesn't care, but eventually he gets to where he's, yes sir, no sir, yes admiral.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even
you're right.
Picard sees through it right now. He's like, everything in the ship is done exactly within Starfleet regulation. So
Yeah. Starfleet order. I love this. To you, Rios. Or to the Ibn Majid. But 5 minutes on this ship. No, precisely what I'm looking at. I love this so much. Starfleet to the core. Remember when that was a hashtag everyone was using? I loved it. I love the reaction to things on Twitter. That was cool. A little comeback, kind of deflating the moment. I
I'm
like
looking
that.
forward to seeing more of Rios in season two. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing all these people again, but I feel like we didn't get quite as much Rios as we got Raffi and Girardi. So
Yeah.
I think he's a pretty interesting character.
Jill says
Look,
the
Gornegg
contrast.
right there on screen. That's why
Yeah.
we say Gornegs on the Text Trek podcast.
The contrast between Rios and his alter egos just makes Rios seem even cooler. Yeah, it's true. Rafi said you were a speech maker. Such a great line.
They foreshadow the Free Cloud adware right there.
Yeah.
More on that next week.
What do you think of Rios having his own image as his
You
EMHs?
know, the interesting thing about Rios is that yeah, we get all these different holograms, and the actor Santiago Cabrera, he is a Latino dude who grew up in England, which is kind of rare. So, but you know, a lot of the actors who come from the British scene are just by nature, just to perform over there. There's so many different accents that they have to learn. A lot of a lot of them will have on their resumes. You know, they'll be like, oh, I can do like a London accent or like a Northern England accent and a Scottish accent. So that was a good way to distinguish the different personalities. You kind of immediately know which hologram is talking.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun, and they also have such different personalities than him.
I was really stoked about Santiago Cabrera being in the cast because he was on Merlin. Yeah, he was on Merlin. He played Lancelot, and he was great in that series.
And
Is it?
he's a big soccer dude in real life. He likes to kick the football around,
Ah,
and so that's why they have the Rios play
does
soccer all the time or have a soccer ball.
this
I
is where we
mean,
get hints of his.
he's both British and Latino, so like of course he's gonna be like a super soccer dude, right?
Yeah.
That's like automatic.
He was a he was right here in this scene. We got a little hint of his tragic past, that he lost his captain, and we'll get more of what happens later, and we'll get more of Admiral O's menacing nature, and it kind of hints at what happened to Girardi as well. Not Admiral, Commodore O. I love this scene too. This is so touching because I'm personally attached to Chateau Picard and the Picards and like that whole story of their family. And I love that he never feels like
Yeah.
that's his home. You
They had a
know,
good story with them with family in Next Generation season 4, and then they had a bad story with them
in
with Star Trek
generations.
Generations. So
Yeah,
I could take it
yeah.
or leave it, but
Justice for Renee.
I like the
Renee.
I like how this echoes so much of all good things. The
Yeah,
end of Next Generation, and this line here that like Picard did try, like again he's thinking like a Starfleet officer, like this is his duty, this is his assignment. Like go make wine, go live on the chateau and make wine. And he's like, okay,
yeah.
I will do my duty. And he legitimately tried, gave it his all, and he's like, no, like this is just not me. Like this is I can't. I'm just waiting to die here, like you said in the last episode. Like
Well,
I'm not living.
it's touching too that like in it's touching and sad also that like Jean-Luc is the last. After him, some other distant Picard will inherit the not inherit, but maybe be willing to do the job. But after this, Chateau Picard goes into that public trust as we were talking about earlier, and it could be anyone else.
Or maybe
Uh,
the Romulans get
that's what
the
I
offer
wanted.
to run it.
I actually wanted Elnor to like have it also, but I think that Laris and Javon are a more natural choice, and they're together, and that it would be nice they could build a new family, and it'd be cool to have like
Yeah.
a new generation of Romulans
Well,
growing
we're
up
gonna
on
get more
Earth.
of Orla Brady in season 2, so
Yeah, yeah.
we'll see how that plays out.
And you could tell Laris and Javon love Chateau Picard. I mean, in that scene where she was talking about the harvest and all that stuff, it's like, Romulans grow grapes too. They're a very similar culture. They have wine, they have liquor, they have alcohol. Like you know, in that sense, they're very similar to
I like his
humans.
to-go bag here.
Yeah,
With the
a little satchel.
because Picard, I mean, just because of Patrick Stewart, Picard sometimes I mean, I shouldn't say sometimes, often feels more British than French. So I love when they
Yeah,
make him French, and then here where they immediately spring into action.
yeah. This is genius like work here. It's good.
As soon as there's shots fired, they killed the alarm. Take them.
Yeah.
Bam.
Boom.
Yeah,
Look at
Hanel
this.
Culpepper did great with this. The
Yeah.
editing, the choreography,
No music, which is also genius because it's like you just hear all
and
the sounds.
sometimes I hate like the Bourne Identity style fighting with like these like really close shots and shaky cam and quick cuts. But this is restrained enough that I think it's very effective.
Yeah. Boom. Oof. There's you see how badass they are
Yeah.
too. Like it's
And
pretty
you see
cool.
like
Like
Picard can't really keep up. Like he kind of got
yeah.
smacked around. He finally was able to off one of them,
By the way, are
two
we
of them.
seeing civilian weaponry? And does that
No,
exist?
I think those are Romulan. Like
Those are
she
Romulan.
still
Yeah.
has some Tal Shiar tech. You know, they showed that
Gotcha.
last week when she had the molecular
Oh,
scanner.
you're right. You're right. I love that he knew where to go. Like this was always a contingency. Like if the
Yeah.
chateau gets attacked, like go for these like hidden weapons. There's probably like weapons hidden under everything. Like,
You
it's
can take
crazy.
the Tal Shiar out of the Romulan, or you can take the Romulan out of the Tal Shiar,
Tal
but you can't
Shiar,
take the Tal Shiar out of the
sure, the
Romulan.
Romulan. I
Now
like
here
that.
with Girardi, you know, kind of shady.
Yeah,
Last we saw her was with Commodore O, and then now we see her like, oh, just happened to show up when the baddies did.
yeah. You realize later that she was definitely dropped into this situation,
Yeah.
but I still love Agnes. I don't know. I mean, I feel bad for her now. I have pity for the character. Like you
People
know.
hated her even in this episode. Like I know, like later when Rafi's like, "Oh, we're just gonna let her tag along," people were like, "Yeah, they shouldn't have brought her. I don't like her."
um, Jill says Laris adores him, but knows he always had one foot out the door for Jean-Luc. But and then are Laris and Jaban a couple? I kind of got the vibe that they were just friends. Why do I think they are a couple?
They're supposed to be husband and wife.
Oh, okay, okay,
At least in like the prequel comic they did for the show, they were
okay,
married.
cool. That's probably
Where
where
they
I
don't
got
look
that
anything
idea.
like how they do here, but clearly they hadn't shown any pictures of them to the artist of that comic. This looked like two like typical like TNG Romulans with the Spock haircut.
Number one, welcome to the chat. Picard is great. Yes, it's nice to have number one here. That's cool. Do you think Laris would have lost focus so quickly and not been on alert longer?
That line is important, by the way, from Laris. Like we're not like them
Yeah,
anymore.
like the Tal Shiar. I like that she used a spray bottle, by the way. Like that's a Star Trek thing, like just like a regular spray bottle, like from the '60s. But this one was a more modern, like 2000s, 20 somethings spray bottle. So this is a cool little scene where we get a lot of a little bit more about like how the Romulans feel about AI and what they think Soji and Daj are,
Yeah.
or they represent. Rather, I should say the Jat
The
Vash
mystery here
think.
with Ramda and what exactly happened to this
Yeah,
Borg cube. You know, we
a lot of
eventually learned that
information.
it was because of Ramda and because she is Jat Vash and knows a secret so horrifying that these it broke this Borg sub matrix.
That's pretty heavy. Like, it
Yeah.
also that it does make sense though because that's what they were gonna do with Hugh is basically implant some kind of code that overloads their system. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe yeah,
Hmm.
like all that information from like this greater AI, like just overpowered the Borg, you know, Unimatrix or whatever in it, and so the Borg learned from the past, like, oh, we'll just disconnect this ship. Like, we don't need that to come. You know, as soon as there's like a some kind of failsafe probably goes off that's like let's disconnect this from the hive, you know, or the collective, I should say. I love that too, Soji. This whole like Romulan tarot card thing is interesting to me too. and I like their, just yeah, like the whole idea. I guess the idea of the false front door, all those things
Yeah.
were really cool.
Yeah, Picard season 1 did such a phenomenal job of fleshing out Romulan culture, and I would actually say repairing Romulan culture, making it work. I always thought the original series had such awesome Romulans, and honestly, like Next Generation style Romulans were always a disappointment to me. Where they were kind of, cowardly and sneaky, and they weren't the warriors, seeking glory of the original series, and kind of even respectable at times, and so with Picard, they found a way to make all of that fit. I used to hate the bumpy foreheads on Next Generation.
Now you're okay.
Now, yeah, it's like, oh, those are Romulan Yankees. They're the northern Romulans. In this sequence, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah, so we not only have Romulan tarot cards, but Romulan Rubik's Cube. They're just in the Romulan game room. Yeah, someone's playing Romulan Uno in the corner.
This is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Romulan style. This is our first clue for the people in character that something's up with Soji or different, because she goes really fast.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you get the impression Hughes sees it.
Yeah,
I don't think these Romulans know, except for Narek.
right. And of course his sister Nerissa.
I love this the Zhat Vash Romulan they're interrogating, because he's like this like big, bulky, thick neck, bald headed, like he looks like a Romulan brute. We've never seen a I don't know, maybe he could have been like one of the miners on Nero's ship, but other than that, we've never seen a Romulan quite like him. The diversity, I guess the diversity of the species, but they still all feel Romulan.
Right. By the way, the ridged makeup I feel is also improved in Picard. It looks just more realistic somehow. I'm glad that they went away from also like making Romulans look really green. That kind of like greenish tint that they always gave them, even though they do have green blood. I just kind of like that they kind of went away from that.
No, there's an instance in last week's episode when they're like cutting back and forth in the editing between the apartment investigation and also the explanation at the chateau of who the Zhat Vash are rumored to be. When it's like cutting back and forth like that. They do a similar technique here, which I think is extremely effective, because you're building up the tension simultaneously, and thematically you're both talking about the secrets of the Zhat Vash, what the importance of Soji.
Sebjaneb.
Picard is trying to figure out what's going on with Soji. At the same time, Soji is trying to figure out what's going on with Soji, and they're both talking to a Romulan Zhat Vash who has the answers. It was just kind of cool to see how they bounce back and forth with that.
Here's this thing that happens that Soji
Yeah,
falls asleep while talking to her mom every day.
We eventually learn this mom AI is part of keeping them on mission, because they're serving another party that we don't even know about yet for their little
thanks,
android
Jill. I'm glad
culture.
you're enjoying the conversation. Jill wants to know the idea that assimilating the wrong person could destroy the cube is fascinating.
Yeah.
How does Ramda know the future? I think
Ramda has the abdmission. How do you say that word?
No, the admonition. Yeah, the admonition. Yeah, admonition.
There's a word I didn't know until I watched this.
The admonition. Yeah. Sorry. A little crazy there. And Blue Sparrow, thanks for being here. Blue says, I love the Romulans in this too. Yeah, they're great. When I was watching this, I found this scene touching. I thought Narek was sincere, and then I realized, oh yeah, no, he's a creepo. He's not.
Yeah, I mean the way that they play it, they don't show like a ton of warmth and chemistry in this relationship, which I thought initially when I was watching it, I was like, oh yeah, like I'm not really sure, like I'm buying into it, but then it makes it more believable when you learn later that he is kind of playing her. But then on top of that, you learn like, oh, maybe he did have some sincere feelings. So it's like lies within lies and secrets within secrets,
Right.
and what is the truth? Very Garrick, very Garrick from Deep
Very
Space
good.
Nine.
Well, Narek, there's a thing about Narek is that unlike the others where they are basically like, he believes in the mission that Javash and he believes like, that she's going to be the end of things. But at the same time, unlike the others, he's in love with the technology. He loves it. Like he loves what she is because he's studied her so deeply. He's their expert on androids and like, AI, which is like forbidden apparently, but he's allowed to be for the nefarious purposes of like bringing it down. And I think that's what comes across for me about Narek is that he loved her initially as a thing, but then when he started interacting with her, he actually ends up like feeling for her, and that's why he hesitates. He's not doing it as fast, like he's taking his time.
The Romulan Lannister thing is still weird to me, and I'm glad that they drop it.
Jill's clarifying. I was referring to the conversation between Soji and Ramda talking about mythology. Oh, sorry. Well, alright. I thought our conversation's great too, Fatheree. No, I'm teasing Jill. uh, repeat what you said, Fatheree. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
I just said I didn't like the Romulan Lannister stuff. Which
Oh
is
yeah, me
weird.
neither.
But they drop it pretty quickly.
Watching it again because I know how it gets dropped, it doesn't bother me as much. I can just kind of ignore it. But yeah, it is.
I think the next time we see it is the most egregious.
The most egregious, yeah. Robin Lannister.
Allison Pill is so good. Like her face, I always feel sorry for her. She always looks like so like distressed.
Jean-Luc's like realizing, oh, we gotta go quick if O already knows what I'm up to. She makes a great case. She is the expert on synths. I like he calls him Shavu.
What does that mean?
I think it means Shavu is you. I think my dear something, my dear you or something like that. I forget. Here, let me look it up. I can look it up real quick.
I don't know much French at all. I wish that he had said something in Spanish because then I would have a shot at understanding.
At your house, sorry, chez vous, at your house. It's about to get hot at your house. I knew that, and I forgot that. Chez de house. She just drops her credentials right here.
Yeah, this is her resume.
Yeah,
like I'll be useful on the ship.
He's like, well, I don't really think I could say no. That's a nice shot above Earth.
And we don't know it here, but Raffi has an ulterior motive of why she wants to go to Free Cloud.
Yeah. So here we get the reveal that she found Maddox. So we're like, oh, we're gonna get to see Maddox again.
Yeah. Well, we were wondering.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bruce Maddox became a much more important part of the show than any of us thought initially.
Yeah, it's true.
They name drop him in the first episode, and they just keep name dropping him until eventually we see him in 2 more episodes, directed by Jonathan Frakes. We're in the Frakes episodes next.
Yes. One of my favorites, Absolute Candor.
Absolute Candor.
Candor
Is the bottled city from Krypton.
Thanks. Candor. I'm sure Jill's laughing right now.
I say it wrong all the time too, but yeah, that's because I've read too many Superman comics.
Being brainwashed is leaving her distressed, perhaps. Yeah, it's true.
And then here, we're all like on the edge of our seat, waiting for him to say it. Say it! Yay!
Engage.
Cue theme music.
The music, yes. This is the first time we hear it like this. A little harken back
Jerry
to
Goldsmith, 1979. Star Trek The Motion Picture and TNG. Bye.
Loved it. Oh my
Bye,
gosh.
La Serena.
Bridge clap. Bridge clap. That was awesome. We had quite a nice little viewership too. It was about 4 or 5 people. So
Yeah,
thank
I think
you.
people are stoked for Picard right now with the new trailer. We're gonna
Yeah.
have to figure out when, where, how we're going to watch these remaining 7 episodes because we only have 4 weeks, 4.5 weeks before Picard season 2 drops.
Yeah. So we might be doubling up a couple. Well, no,
I
we
think it's
will be doubling
31
up on a
days
couple.
away.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'll have to go. I'll have to. We won't do it online here, but we'll figure out the logistics of it and let you all know how we're gonna do it. But maybe we could, if you're available, Father, maybe we could
No,
double up.
39 days.
Ooh, maybe we could double up Absolute Candor and Stardust City Rag. That might be a fun combo.
Have a Jonathan Frakes double feature.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. All right, well,
Boom, boom,
we'll
boom,
let you
boom,
know for
boom.
sure. Thanks for a couple more comments, real quick before we go. I could never make out Jaban's expression there. Was he unconvinced that Agnes should go on the trip? That is smart in a way, after all. Yeah, I think he was just like, whatever you want. Like, and then I guess Picard gets to say engage because he's the client. Yeah. Yes. Girardi's reaction made it seem like that was like internal fan service, and we know that Picard's been on the news, so I'm sure we've heard him say engage, or like that's become his catchphrase that everyone
I
knows
just think like
about.
if Mariner from Lower Decks was there, she would be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, Admiral, can we hear you say engage?"
Just as I come home just for the watchalongs. Yay, 4 out of 5 combo makes sense.
Okay, well, I guess we have our marching orders for next week. Hopefully we can fit that into our schedules. I think I'm open for it. So
All right, cool. Excellent. Me too. Well, Fatheree, thanks for. Oh, I guess we should wait till 47 minutes. There it
let's
is.
do
All right.
47, see if you
All
can
right,
get
sounds
it right on
good.
the money.
So everyone go check out Tex-Trek and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so if you can help us out and spread the word for Tex-Trek over there. Also, Starfleet Boy wouldn't mind more subscribers, so if you like what you see here, feel free to share that as well. Fridays we do TQIF, which is something we've been doing for a long time now, since the pandemic, basically. So that's Tex-Trek at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, and then Starfleet Boy After Dark right after sometimes. So check those out. And then Saturdays we do our TOS streams, and then Sundays we're doing Picard. So lots of stuff going on. Oh, and Saturday nights we've been doing Book of Boba Fett with the boys from Drunk Space Nine. So check that out. All
You
right.
went over.
Oh no, here we go. Bye. Live long and
Bye.
prosper.